If you've been watching some of my recent videos, you would have seen that I've done a few parts of my smoothest swings ever series. In each part, I look at 5 PBA bowlers that I think have the smoothest swings. There were so many to choose from that I've done 3 parts of this so far, but none of those videos have actually included a two-handed bowler. This wasn't intentional, and it became clear that I needed to start including some two-handers, as there are plenty out there with very smooth styles. So I thought it would be fair to make this video a two-handed edition. Thank you all for your suggestions of players to include, and of course if there's a favourite player you have that I've not yet included in this list, then just let me know in the comment section below. Once again, I've chosen 5 bowlers for this list, and we will have 5 very good two-handed bowlers to look at today. So with that intro out of the way, let's begin with number 1, Mimi Yokoyama. Mimi Yokoyama, and I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, is a pro on the Japanese professional tour. She joined in 2022, and while it's early days for her, she certainly has an incredibly smooth style, particularly her release. It will be very interesting to see how her progression on the tour goes, but when I discovered her while doing research for this video, I was very impressed by her style. We are starting to see more and more female two-handers, but obviously the growth hasn't been anywhere near that of the male bowlers as of yet. Number 2, Jason Belmonte.
A huge accomplishment for Jason. He's since added to it. Trying to continue that run today. Gets a late drop. 9 pins separating these two. We close out the 4th. Belmo looking for 2 in a row and finding it. Let your opponent sit and stew a little bit longer as Belmo chases 3 straight.
Got a hook. Got
triple. Wow. They kick it open, and he's going to run right through it. The lead at 16. Of the 10. Get in your home. Hail the bone.
Just throwing haymakers. And what a way to take advantage of that opening.
When you're the greatest this sport has ever seen. Make it 5 in a row. Out all the time. Oh boy.
Now, this was an obvious selection, and Belmonte is arguably going to be the smoothest bowler on this list. When he first came on the tour, he was more about power, but he quickly developed a much smoother style. To me, he was very similar to Osku Palermaa at first, but then started to slow everything down and simply rely on more consistent shot making, which is his main strength. In my opinion, he is still the blueprint for the two-handed style, and two-handed bowlers worldwide still mould their game based on his technique. Number 3, Osku Palermaa.
Palermaa with a nice response on the right lane, that's for sure. Palermaa looking for a double here in the 7th. So that matches Rash's double. Only his 5th strike comes at a great time. And another strike. Palermaa in the 2nd. Bounce back shot. Gets them all to drop.
This is not the one he thought was going to carry. We saw Ryan Schaefer last game get a couple of these.
Because of Jason Belmonte's dominance, people might sometimes forget that Osku was on the scene first. He managed to capture a major win, the World Championship, as well as the Shark Championship in 2010, and also had 3 other international PBA titles. On top of this, he's won a whole host of other international events, and what he was able to accomplish in Europe during his prime was pretty outstanding to say the least. One of the most impressive things about his style is the power he generates while still being incredibly smooth. Even when he spares the 10 pin and launches it down the lane, he still makes it look effortless. Number 4, Packy Hanrahan.
This is a long-standing relationship between these two that goes back to Wichita State, too. I mentioned an incredible on to near the end of this opening match with Simonson and now Barrett awaiting the winners, which certainly appears to be the H&H boys.
Yeah, it's all but over.
And
I know Marshall knows.
I'm going to hate myself when you give me the answer.
Well, in 1975, I was in line to make my first telecast. It was in Cleveland. I was bowling great. I had a couple hundred pin lead over sixth place, and all of a sudden, the Kokomo Kid put on one of his rushes. Don Johnson.
Yep.
So Hanrahan with a little bit better frame than his opener.
But time will tell.
And Hanrahan's first strike of this match.
Packy is our first two-handed lefty on this list, and he just has such a great solid technique, particularly at the line, but it's also his swing that is incredibly smooth, and he was a pretty obvious choice for this list. He's a two-time titleist, one of which is a singles win and the other a doubles, but perhaps the best thing about watching Packy on television, however, is the energy he brings and the interactions with the crowd. Number 5. Kevin Williams.
He's a real likable guy, a really nice, engaging guy. And he's really a lot of fun.
First shot on that right lane. Blows it up. Because I've learned this lesson before in my married life, and I failed. Strike for Kevin. So, Randy, right now, looking at this. Moving to his camp at that point, right? Keep your eye on the 7. It is blown up. Strike.
Think about it, you just got to do this. Focus on your motion. Focus.
Oh yeah, late kick of the 7. For the win. Yes!
Yes! Columbia 300. Greater Ozarks Open. Everybody that supported me, my geese out.
Our final entry on today's list is Kevin Williams, a name a few people suggested to me, and I can certainly see why. Just like Packy, he's a two-handed lefty, and his swing actually goes pretty high for a two-hander, but it's still very smooth at the same time. He's won just the one title in his career, the 2022 Shark Championship, but I think he's certainly one of the more underrated players on tour. And so those were my selections for the smoothest two-handed bowlers. And as I mentioned earlier, there might be some other names that you feel should have been on this list. So please let me know in the comment section below any suggestions, and I might make another part to this video series. I'd just like to thank you all very much for your support. And if you have enjoyed what you've seen, I would really appreciate it if you would click the subscribe button below. That will be all from me for today. And as always, thank you, bowling fans, and see you all next time.